You let me know. All right. All right, good morning. As you know, I'm Travis Monica. I'm the chair. I want to thank you for your application. We received an application from you for Putnam County Court. So if you could start by introducing yourself, tell us about your qualifications and experience. This is the first time you've appeared in front of our board, so.
Yes, first and foremost, I want to thank you all for taking the time to review my application. Take the time for what's going to be a long day. Looks like for you all, and I know I appreciate it. I know the applicants appreciate the time that you guys are going to commit today to this process. My name is Dominic Piscitello, and I am a supervising attorney with Children Legal Services. You know, I grew up in Putnam County. I love it there. I have so many memories, experiences, both professionally and personally in Putnam County. And I'd say I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the teachers there, the coaches there, and my family who still remain there. You see, my dad, he moved to Putnam County when I was about 3 years old. I grew up playing football, soccer, baseball, selling popcorn for the local scouts. Ultimately, I went to Palatka High School. I was a two-sport athlete there. I earned the Frank Hancock Trophy Award. I worked at McDonald's right there on Reed Street, and I earned a scholarship to go play football in North Carolina at Livingstone College. A little bit later, I returned to Palatka, and I finished my Associate of Arts degree at the St. Johns River Community College. I went to the University of Central Florida, where I was a resident assistant, as well as going to Tallahassee with the legislature as a UCF legislative scholar. After UCF, I proposed to my wife, now of 12 years, at the Ravine State Garden, right there underneath one of the suspension bridges where the azaleas bloom. And stayed local. I went to Florida Coastal School of Law. During that time, I interned with the state attorney's office in the 7th Judicial Circuit, St. Johns County, Putnam County, with the homicide unit here in St. Johns County as well. My first trial was in Putnam County. I was a CLI. And there was nothing like trying your first trial back at home. After finding out I passed the bar exam back in October of 2015, I was sworn in as an ASA. I volunteered here in the 7th Judicial Circuit until a spot became available in Bunnell in Flagler County, where I was a misdemeanor prosecutor for roughly the next 2 years. In 2018, I went to Children Legal Services, the Department of Children and Families, and I've been there for the last seven and a half years. I've been a senior attorney. I've been a lead trial attorney. I've been a supervising attorney. I've supervised Clay County, Nassau County, Duval County, and currently I supervise up to 12 staff members, 6 attorneys, as well as 6 support staff. Most of the time I'm in the courtroom with my team, but when I'm not in the courtroom, I'm meeting with my community-based partners. I'm meeting with my attorneys. I'm in preparation, and I'm meeting with investigators to come up with strategies to protect children that are being abused or neglected. I thank you for your time today, and I'm welcoming any questions that you all have for me.
All right. First question I have for you is you don't live in Putnam County, correct?
That's correct.
But moving to Putnam would not be an issue for you at all, right?
It would not be an issue. Like, I have deep ties to Putnam County.
Your family all still lives in Putnam.
My parents live in Putnam County. They have for the last 32 years. My dad was in law enforcement. He retired from Putnam after 30 years. He's working at Interlochen right now, police department. My mother, she works at the school board there. And so I have deep ties that connect me to Putnam County, and I would be honored to move back home and to a place that I grew up at.
You're willing to move your whole family to Putnam County?
Of course, all 6 of us. I have 4 kids from 10 to 2.
Okay.
And my wife.
I don't think there's any.
She's coming with me.
I don't think there's any doubt about your ties to the community there. Let's see. Talk to us a little bit about I guess your trial experience.
Yeah, so I mean, I was fortunate to start out with the state attorney's office, and so while I was there, I had over 20 plus trials. There were misdemeanors. I had one that was a felony, a couple of juvenile trials, and since then I've transitioned to the Department of Children and Families. I've had 20 plus trials while I've been there as a primary representative of DCF, ranging from simple cases all the way up to one of the cases I listed was a murder case in which a parent's rights were terminated because they had committed murder in front of their child. And so I have a vast knowledge base, vast experience in the courtroom. And again, I spend most of my days in the courtroom with my team and my staff.
Why do you want to be a judge?
Yeah, I want to be a judge. Simply put, because I've had great role models as judges. I've been able to see great judges from my time in private practice, my time when I was a misdemeanor prosecutor, and kind of where I'm at today in Duval. And I've seen the impact that they've made on everyday people's lives, especially in circuit court with adoptions. I have the opportunity to see how a judge going through an adoption impacts that child's life and impacts the life of those who are adopting. And to me, giving back to the community is one of the greatest honors and greatest services that I think I could do. And by being a judge, I think especially as a county court judge, that's the easiest and quickest way to get to it.
And I mean, you mentioned a lot of good judges you've been in front of. What do you think are the good qualities of a good judge?
Yeah. So for me, I would say that judicial temperament would be one, integrity is another, and courage to follow the law. And with judicial temperament, I think you have to be patient. Especially as a county court judge, you have to be able to listen. You have to be professional, responsible. And I think you have to demand that in your courtroom. And I think when you leave a courtroom, you need to know what that decision was as a defendant, as a plaintiff, so that you can understand how the court came to that particular ruling, and you need to be firm and decisive. And I think that those characteristics, those qualities are extremely important in a judge.
Do you have a judicial philosophy? If so, what is it?
Yeah, I do. For me, stare decisis, I'm bound by stare decisis. I think one of the things that's important to me is I should not be legislating from the bench. I don't believe in judicial activism. I believe that what we should do is review the text as the text was written. And if there is any ambiguity, you would be looking at the original definition that the reasonable people would, outside of the legislature, not from committee meeting notes, would determine what that definition was and apply it at the time in which that statute was enacted.
Have you read the Code of Judicial Conduct?
Yes, I have.
All right, and you know what canons apply to you currently as an
Yes, yes, I do. Number 7.
And I assume your sister probably tipped you off that.
The sister.
She gave you all the clip notes, right?
Yeah.
Question for you. When Mr. Murdoch's asking you about your judicial philosophy, and you give a great answer, but can you give me an example of a time when you've been in front of a judge where they didn't follow that philosophy that you're discussing and the impact?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the writing samples that I provided to this committee, in which I filed an answer to an appeal, I think in that particular scenario and situation, there was a motion to suppress hearing. I made my arguments. The court granted the motion to suppress. I thought that the court needed additional consideration, so I filed a motion for reconsideration. We had that hearing, and the court ultimately overturned their initial order granting the motion to suppress and denying it. And I think, in my opinion, in that particular case, in that particular scenario, the court was provided with those additional case law citings, which allowed for the court to come to that conclusion.
You have a board certification and you have a board certification, is that right?
Yes, I do, in juvenile law.
When did you get that?
Last year.
And how did you find that process?
It was a great process. I wanted to actually get it a little bit earlier, but now, after looking into it, you need your 5 years, you need your references, and I had the trial experience already at the time, and so I just needed the years. I had to grow up, I had to get there, and I thought it was a great experience learning an area of law. So when I first started with DCF, I knew nothing about the dependency. I mean, quite frankly, I think I had about a half a day on the bar exam about it, or studying for the bar exam. And as you mentioned, I'm, board certified now, and it took a lot for me to get there. And I think it was reading chapter 69, or sorry, 39, chapter 63, reviewing the CFOPs. And I think that goes a lot to the work ethic that, I have, and that's been bred to me from my parents, and even, my siblings were great role models to me.
Yeah, you didn't have to do it, but you chose to do it.
I did.
County court, you hear civil and criminal cases. You got experience in criminal law. Doesn't look like a whole lot in civil, right?
Yeah, well, I have civil experience, but it's circuit civil, not county civil. I've spent years in juvenile law, which is civil, and then ultimately I was in private practice for a brief period of time in which I practiced and handled, family law matters, or Rule 12 and Chapter 61. That was with the Douglas Law Firm, roughly about 3 years ago in Putnam County. This is where the primary office is located.
Oh, there it is. There's not a space between here. Yeah, so what were you doing with them in the areas of civil cases did you have?
Yeah, there were circuit civil cases, and so I was handling family law matters. I was handling criminal defense, juvenile law as well. And towards the tail end of it, I was starting to get into guardianship, but I never took over that area yet.
What do you think is your biggest strength as an applicant?
Yeah, I think my biggest strength is probably my courtroom experience. I mean, I've spent my whole legal profession pretty much in the courtroom, whether it be directly in county court or circuit court. I have numerous trials, over 40 trials, administrative hearings. And so that whole body of work, I think, has given me a better understanding of the evidence code, and the ability to apply that in the courtroom.
Any commissioners have any questions? All right, so this, I guess, is your opportunity to final statement, whatever you want to highlight before we deliberate.
Thank you. And I mean, for me, it would be an honor. I mean, probably the highest honor to go back home and serve the community that has given so much to me. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for your time today, and for your consideration.